What's up, everybody? It's DH Thorne here. We just arrived at Jaynes Hill, and I'll be doing a little introduction of the place in a minute. But I want to give a shout out to Sheldra Stanfield, I think it is, who was the one who got it correct when I asked for people to guess where I was going. So the video to follow will be a little bit of a walkthrough of this area where I am going to be, with any luck, conducting a ritual tonight. Essentially, it really depends on a combination of weather and how much personal people activity there is in this area, because I don't like people to walk in on my rituals, especially when I'm invoking, dark spirits, both for privacy reasons and, of course, it might make people uncomfortable, and who knows how the spirits will react. So I'd like to keep things a little bit low key. If I can't do it here tonight, I'll be actually going to another place that's also secluded and attempting it there instead. So we will be checking it out tonight. We'll do a drive through, see if it's busy. And if it is, we'll go someplace else. It's not really that big of a deal. I can do this anywhere. But I would like to tap into the ley line energy in this location, and I will be talking about that in the rest of the video. So I'll check you back in a few minutes. All right, everybody, this is DH Thorne here. So I am at the secret spot, the super secret special spot. We used to call this the Rock back in the 90s. And for a pretty obvious reason, you have a gigantic, like 10-ton rock right there. And this is actually on Long Island in New York. It's a place called Jaynes Hill, and it's part of the Walt Whitman Trail. It's in, I guess, West Hills and Huntington Station area. And I've been coming here since the 90s, and I haven't really been here in a bunch of years, so a lot of stuff has changed, but the basic layout is pretty much the same. This is actually the highest point on Long Island, and that makes it rather special and unique. Long Island isn't very tall. I think it's I forget the exact elevation here, but I think it's a couple, 1,000 feet or so. It's not really that much. But basically, as one of the highest points on Long Island, this is an energy center. And this is also a place where, Walt Whitman used to come, hence why they have his poetry there. He used to walk up here all the time from his home, which isn't actually that far from here. What's interesting, though, this is also, if you understand or know about something called ley lines, in the earth, there are essentially believed to be these lines of psychokinetic, psychic energy, life energy of the earth. It kind of goes back to like Gaia theory and stuff like that, where we believe that the earth is a living, sentient organism or spiritual entity, and that ley lines are the meridians, not unlike chi meridians on a human body, or other different kinds, like chakras and all kinds of stuff. And that certain places in the earth and on the surface of the earth are what they would call vortices or nexuses. And these locations are where two or more ley lines converge. And when this idea was first come up with, it actually had nothing to do with magic or superstition or supernatural things at all. It was almost entirely based on this idea that primitive people would walk the same tracks of Earth and leave deep trails and create generational trails and things like that. But it also had to do with what were obvious points of significance in the environment. So a rock formation, mountaintop, things like that were considered nexuses or vortices. And if you look it up, it's a fascinating study. I'm not really into it. But originally, as I said, it had nothing to do with the supernatural. It was just one primitive geologist way, like an 1800s type geologist way of rationalizing hills, valleys, in ancient, tribal trails and things like that. But what you find is there is, for those of us who have a sensitivity, those who can do dowsing, those of us who are sensitive to spiritual work, with energy work, we can feel the energy of a location. And now this video is probably not going to show very well what this area is like. I'll probably put a little satellite view here at some point, but it's going to be interesting to note that the trails that are here, which you can see one there, and there's one there, and there's going to be one over here and one over here. Now these trails converge in such a way that they set up a flow. And these trails actually aren't that far off from where we used to feel that the energy flow was. And actually, over time, when humans interact with the environment, they can change this energy flow by changing the arrangement of the location by changing the trails and things like that. Humans are drawn to these same meridians, and animals are drawn to these meridians. You can find them when you're looking for animal trails. You'll see them as well. So as humans over time adjust these trails, utilize them, change them, it can change the flow a little bit. But everything here is still pretty much the same as it was. They've removed some things. They've, I think, moved the fence a little bit. But everything here is pretty much as it was. And the same flow to this vortex is the same. This is actually the site of probably, in my opinion, maybe not the strongest. I think there's others that are stronger. But this is one of the strongest energy vortexes on Long Island, at least in the areas that I've ever haunted as a kid growing up. And you can feel a certain flow to this area. It kind of flows in a clockwise manner, and creates a center over here. But this used to be one of the places we used to go all the time. We used to encounter shadow people. We used to do magic rituals up here. And this is actually quite a common place for hikers now. So I'll be coming back here probably tonight to do something. If not, I'll be doing it at home. But I will be tapping into the energy that was encountered here either way. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, so we got a little interrupted by casual hikers on the trail. I didn't want to be talking loud about what we're talking about too much. Not that it would bother me too much, but it'd be interruptive. Another thing that comes to mind that is kind of interesting is the correlation between ley lines and the crossroads found in different magical systems, especially voodoo or whatever. And in my personal opinion, this is what may be meant by the crossroads more than just a physical road, an intersection somewhere that you stand on and call to a spirit. It could actually be the intersection, a nexus, a vortex of ley lines. Well, again, remember when you have two or more ley lines intersecting or meeting, you can have the potential, in fact, it's almost always at least a nexus, if not a vortex. These create a lot of excess spiritual energy, and it creates portals both in and out of the spirit world, which can be very useful and very powerful. So we are approaching the end of the trail here, so I'm going to be cutting it off for real here. Again, I will try to come back here tonight, weather permitting. It is kind of threatening today, and I don't want to come here if there's going to be a lot of people here. So I haven't been here in a long time, and it looks like, as you can see, there's a lot of cars here. So we'll see. This might be dead tonight, or it might not be. Also, back in the olden days, this place used to be a regular place that the police would visit to basically look for people who were trespassing at night. They'd lock the gates down at the bottom, and you couldn't get in anywhere or out, so you get tickets and stuff. So we'll see. Also, they built up a lot of radio towers and antennas that weren't here. Actually, one of them was here way back, but these can interfere with things. It's a lot of RF frequency that's in the area, and that can potentially interfere with things. It can cause you to pick up strange things on different spirit boxes and such. So a lot of CB signals and stuff come through here for the fire department and the local police, the parks. So it's an interesting place. If you're ever in the area, I definitely suggest you check it out. Bring with you your pendulum, bring with you your tarot cards, and try doing low-key rituals out here. You will, I guarantee you, have experiences out here. This is, at least was, one of the most paranormal places on Long Island. It feels pretty calm today. It feels like there's not much going on. Maybe the regularity of human traffic now has caused it to diminish somewhat, but there was a time that this was the spot, especially around the witching hour. All right, guys, check you soon. Okay, this is the part you've been waiting for. So the live ritual video is coming up next, and for those of you who want to participate, this is a very simple spell. You're going to be doing a very simple candle spell, and what I want you to do is to get a single ritual candle. Now, usually this will be like 4 inches tall by a ½ inch wide. It doesn't have to be a big pillar or a taper or anything like that, just a little chime candle or something. I suppose it could even be a tea light if that's all you have. And what I want you to do is I want you to inscribe basically the symbol of a half moon and a energy vortex, however you want to visualize it. Usually I picture it like a spiral galaxy. And I want you to scratch that in or carve that into the candle somehow. And then you will begin watching the video. And when you're watching the video, I want you to hold that candle in your hand. And I want you to really intensely concentrate on the words that I'm speaking and the intent that went into them. I want you to really try to charge that candle, especially when it gets to the part where I'm talking about unloading your burdens and getting rid of them. And I want you to really try to feel, visualize, and know that your burdens and weaknesses are being pushed into this candle fully. And once that is done, you will essentially be charging it with the intention of using it to attack really anyone, any enemies, or it could be a specific person, or you could just make it a general statement of intention that you are taking the negative energy that you're imbuing into this candle, and when it burns, it's going to release that into the world to be directed at your enemies using the energy of this ritual that I performed. Now, it is not a very complicated ritual. It's not a very complicated spell. It's basically a basic candle spell. But this is really all you need to do. And you're going to charge this candle when you feel it is done. When you have finished the video, you can light the candle and let it burn down. Now, if you don't want to use it to do anything baneful, then instead just envision the energy of this negativity that you're ridding from yourself just going into that ley line vortex that I utilized and using it almost like a drain and allowing others to use that energy instead. Or just simply let it dissipate into the world and just declare that it is being dissipated and not being sent to anyone. And if you do want to specify someone, when you're setting up the candle and you're carving into it the half moon and the spiral, what I want you to do is either inscribe the name or the sigil of the target if you have someone specific that you want to attack with this energy. And keep in mind that no one who participates in this ritual can be attacked by this ritual. So if you participate, you're safe from it. It's really just, that's one way to look at it. I myself wasn't directing it at anyone. I just sent it towards whoever has my my failure at heart. They want to see me suffer or fail. Well, they will be the ones who inherit the suffering that I placed into it. Once the video is done and the candle is charged, you will light the candle and you will offer your thanks to the 9 demonic kings of the Goetia and Lucifer himself. And at that point, you'll be done. Just make sure you let the candle burn all the way down. If it goes out, if it goes out very early, you just relight it. If it goes out halfway down, just assume that that's all it needed to do and dispose of the candle respectfully. Since this has a baneful angle to it, you probably don't want to bury this candle near your house, so take it out a little ways somewhere else, maybe into the woods somewhere or just somewhere off your property, and deposit it somewhere where it won't harm anyone that's not intended. All right, that should do it. When you're watching this video, you may notice a few strange things happen. At one point, I am calling to the spirits, and I have my staff raised over my head, and I'm calling to them, and they respond with a very subtle movement off in the woods behind me. It's very clear. There was nothing going on until that moment. There was no sound of anything falling. There was no movement, no animals, and just all of a sudden there was a little bit of a thump and like twigs snapping, and you could kind of tell something was moving around. You may have to turn your speakers up at that point. Then there's also this strange moth that just kind of hovers a few feet off my shoulder and doesn't leave until near the end of the ritual. So I found that kind of interesting. I don't know if that's really a sign of anything. I'll have to do some research and some meditation, but I think it was just a moth. spirit. I am the mind. I am the body. I am the God. I am the self. And I am the devil. Hear me now and obey. Pay me my due respect. I call upon the old ones who dwell in this place, and I call forth the shadows to serve me in the name of Ramzael. I call upon the ancient dark gods of old who now guide me. I call upon Lucifer, star of the morning. I call upon King Baal, bringer of storm, king of hell. I call upon King Paimon, most obedient of Lucifer. I call upon King Beleth, mighty and terrible. I call upon King Person, keeper of the secrets and wealth. I call upon King Asmodeus, the invincible king. I call upon King Vinaya, the master of war and destroyer of enemies. I call upon King Balaam, master of divination and all-knowing. I call upon King Zagan, master of conspiracies and transformation. I call upon King Belial, created first after Lucifer. I call upon you all to bear witness and to serve, to receive our offerings and confer upon us your blessing. If it is your will, I now open this portal in this ley line nexus of the earth and declare that my intention become the intention of all who participate. What I speak and what I say shall be. On this evening, the first evening of the last quarter of the moon, I declare that from this moment forth, I and all those who bear witness and consent be set free of all that does not serve them. They will discard toxic relationships. They will leave fruitless vocations, and they will forget painful memories. They will forgive pointless vendettas, and they will lay down useless burdens. They will stop punishing themselves for mistakes, and they will not look back. They will not regret. Come. I hear you. Come. Into this cauldron, I place all of these things. And now we must balance the scale. Let none who participate in this ritual be in conflict. If their intents cross, they cancel and create balance instead, benefiting both and harming none. For our enemies and those who would see us fall, We rid ourselves fully of their power over us, and we take all that does not serve us and give it to them. Let it become a burden upon their soul and upon their life, amplified by the power of this place and our collective will. They will cling to toxic relationships. They will remain stuck in fruitless labor. They will never forget their pains, and they will be consumed by their need for revenge. They will take on new burdens. They will punish themselves for minor offenses, and they will never look forward, and they will forever regret. I now give unto the old ones who dwell here their due, and I give the shadows their darkness, and bid Ramzael to depart. I give the ancient dark gods their offering, and ask them to do as they will. Lucifer be forever free. Lucifer be forever free. King Baal, go in peace. King Paimon, go in peace. King Beleth, go in peace. King Persan, go in peace. King Asmodeus, go in peace. King Vinaya, go in peace. King Balaam, go in peace. King Zagan, go in peace. King Belial, go in peace. I, D.H. Thorne, thank you and declare this ritual now done. Let my will and the will of those who participate flow into the earth and be a cascading waterfall and tidal wave of power. Let our will be done on this night and forevermore.
Show me your support by making sure to like and comment on this video. Subscribe and hit the bell for updates, and then, if you wish, share this video responsibly. If you want to support me further, or want to know more about my practice, or learn to master your own, consider purchasing my high-quality book, Become the Maelstrom. The link is in the description. If you need my help, or want to book my professional services, you can contact me directly on Facebook, or go to FromTheAshesPublishing.com and look for my list of services under Magical Services. If you do not see a specific service or ritual that addresses your concern, contact me and I can tailor-make a custom ritual working just for you. The link for all this are in the description. Thank you, and mind the shadows.